Imagine a machine that can spot a metal object the size of a suitcase traveling at 5 times the speed of sound, 100 miles away. In less than a second, it calculates a path, launches a missile, and performs a kamikaze strike in midair with surgical precision. This is the MIM-104 Patriot. Born from the fear of a nuclear apocalypse, it became the world's most famous air defense system. Today, we're looking at the Sky Guardian and how it went from a controversial Cold War project to the only weapon on Earth capable of killing the unstoppable hypersonic missiles of the 21st century. The origin of the Patriot was born from the realization that the old Hawk and Nike Hercules systems were too slow and too static for a modern, high-speed war. In the 1960s, the U.S. Army needed a system that could engage multiple targets simultaneously, not just planes, but the terrifying new threat of tactical ballistic missiles. This led to a project so complex it was nearly cancelled several times. The goal was SAMD, a surface-to-air missile development that would replace manual tracking with an advanced digital brain. It was a leap into the unknown, a gamble on phased array technology that would eventually turn the Patriot into the most sophisticated shield in human history. The soul of the Patriot system is the N/MPQ-53, and later the MPQ-65, radar. Unlike traditional rotating dishes, this radar is a massive, flat, stationary face packed with thousands of tiny antenna elements. These elements can shift the radar beam electronically in a fraction of a millisecond, allowing the Patriot to stare at dozens of targets at once. It can track an incoming bomber, a cruise missile, and a ballistic warhead simultaneously, providing the fire control station with a godlike view of the sky. This digital vision was decades ahead of its time, turning the air battle into a high-speed data processing game where the fastest computer always won. Engineering the Patriot missile itself was a masterclass in aerodynamic lethality. The initial versions relied on track-via missile technology, where the missile would see the target and send that data back to the ground station for the final calculation. This made the Patriot incredibly difficult to jam, as the brain of the system remained safely on the ground while the muscle sped toward the kill. The missile was a 17-foot-long Predator, capable of pulling violent maneuvers at Mach 4 to intercept the most agile aircraft in the Soviet arsenal. It was the ultimate long-range sniper of the sky, a machine of fire and silicon that redefined the meaning of air defense. One of the most distinctive features of the Patriot is its modularity. A single battery consists of several launching stations, a radar set, a power plant, and the engagement control station, the only part of the system where humans actually sit. This decentralized design makes the Patriot incredibly resilient. You can destroy one launcher, but the system stays alive. The launchers can be spread out across miles, communicating with the central brain via encrypted data links. This web of defense turned the Patriot into a ghost. The enemy might see the radar, but they never knew where the lethal sting would actually come from. The move from the M901 launcher to the modern M902 and M903 allowed the Patriot to evolve into a multi-role defender. It can now carry different types of missiles in a single battery, the long-range PAC-2 for intercepting planes and the high-tech PAC-3 for killing missiles. This versatility ensured that the Patriot was never obsolete. It was a living system that could be updated with new software and new claws as the threat from the East grew more sophisticated. The Patriot wasn't just a weapon, it was a strategic investment in the survival of the nation, a machine that proved that in the jet age, the best defense is a perfect calculation. When the Patriot officially entered service in the early 1980s, it was the most expensive and complex air defense project ever built. Critics in the media and Congress mocked it as a billion-dollar boondoggle that would never work in a real war. They argued that hitting a bullet with a bullet was impossible. But the U.S. Army knew they had something that would change the world. The Patriot represented the peak of American industrial pride, a high-tech sentinel that was ready to protect NATO's skies from the Baltic to the Black Sea. The world was about to see what happens when the impossible becomes a combat reality. The true baptism of fire for the Patriot came in 1991 during Operation Desert Storm. As Saddam Hussein launched his Scud ballistic missiles at Israel and Saudi Arabia, the Patriot was thrust into the global spotlight. For the first time in history, a missile defense system was used to protect cities and military bases from a real ballistic threat. The grainy footage of Patriot missile streaks across the night sky, chasing down Scuds, became the definitive image of the Gulf War. It was the Star Wars of the desert, a high-stakes duel between 1960s Soviet rockets and 1990s American digital magic. The psychological impact of the Patriot in 1991 was arguably more important than its technical success. By intercepting Scuds aimed at Israel, the Patriot helped prevent the conflict from escalating into a regional catastrophe. It gave the civilians on the ground a sense of security that was priceless. While the actual kill rate of the early PAC-2 missiles was later debated by experts, the fact remained that the Patriot had successfully performed a mission that no other system had ever attempted. It proved that tactical ballistic missile defense was a reality, turning the Patriot into a household name and a symbol of American military benevolence. Lessons from the Gulf War led to the most significant transformation in the system's history, the PAC-3. The engineers realized that to kill a ballistic warhead, you couldn't just explode near it, you had to hit it directly. This led to the hit-to-kill technology. The PAC-3 missile is smaller, faster, and features its own active radar seeker and hundreds of tiny attitude control motors in the nose. These motors allow the missile to dance through the air with incredible precision, physically slamming into the target at thousands of miles per hour. It was no longer about shrapnel, it was about pure kinetic energy, the ultimate bullet hitting a bullet. Throughout the 2000s, the Patriot became the gold standard for global air defense. From the deserts of Iraq in 2003 to the borders of South Korea and the oil fields of Saudi Arabia, the Patriot was the primary shield of the Western world. It was consistently upgraded with new digital brains, allowing it to integrate with other systems like the Aegis ships and THAAD launchers. This integrated air and missile defense, IAMD, turned the Patriot into a node in a global web of protection. The system was now capable of seeing over the horizon, sharing target data through the Link 16 network, and striking with a level of coordination that was once science fiction. Protection for the Patriot batteries themselves also improved. Crews began to operate from armored cabins, and the system was made more mobile, capable of jumping to new locations to avoid being targeted by anti-radiation missiles. The shoot and scoot philosophy wasn't just for artillery anymore. The Patriot became a mobile hunter. This agility ensured that the Patriot remained a difficult target for enemy forces, who were increasingly using saturation attacks to try and overwhelm the system. The Patriot had become a master of the defensive duel, a machine that could outcalculate and outsurvive anything in the sky. By the 2020s, the Patriot had become the world's most sought-after defense system. Nations across Europe, the Middle East, and Asia were lining up to purchase the latest versions. It was more than a weapon, it was a diplomatic shield. Owning a Patriot battery meant you were part of an elite club of protected nations, backed by the industrial might of the United States. But as a new era of hypersonic weapons emerged from Russia and China, many wondered if the old Cold War Guardian had finally met its match. The answer would come not on a test range, but in the most intense air war of the modern era. The arrival of the MIM-104 Patriot in Ukraine in early 2023 marked the most high-stakes chapter in the system's 40-year history. For months, Russia had been terrorizing Ukrainian cities with a barrage of cruise missiles, drones, and the supposedly unstoppable Kh-47 Kinzhal hypersonic missiles. The Kremlin claimed that no Western system could ever intercept a Kinzhal, calling it a superweapon. But the moment the Patriot batteries were activated over Kiev, the myth of Russian hypersonic invincibility was shattered. In a historic engagement, the Patriot successfully intercepted multiple Kinzhals, proving that American hit-to-kill technology was the ultimate master of the sky. The Patriot effect in Ukraine was immediate and profound. Suddenly, the skies over the capital were no longer a playground for Russian missiles. The system's incredible phased array radar and the lethal accuracy of the PAC-3 missiles turned Kiev into a fortress. Ukrainian crews, trained in record time in Germany and the US, demonstrated a level of skill that shocked even the American engineers. They were pushing the system to its absolute limits, using it to ambush Russian bombers and fighters deep within their own territory. The Sky Guardian had become an active hunter, moving the front line of air defense further than anyone thought possible. One of the most legendary stories from the Ukraine conflict is the Patriot ambush near the Russian border. In a matter of minutes, a mobile Patriot unit reportedly downed several Russian aircraft, including Su-34 and Su-35 fighters, as well as specialized electronic warfare helicopters. This demonstrated the incredible deployability and tactical flexibility of the modern Patriot. It wasn't just sitting in a city, it was moving through the darkness, striking from hidden locations and disappearing before the Russian command could even process what was happening. The sovereign of the sky had proved that it was still the most lethal predator in the air. The war in Ukraine has also served as the ultimate real-world data mine for the US and NATO. Every interception, every failed Russian saturation attack, and every radar signature is being analyzed to make the next generation of Patriot even more capable. The system is learning the tricks of the latest Russian and Iranian technology in real time. This combat evolution is something that no test range could ever replicate. The Patriot is proving that its modular brain is its greatest strength, allowing it to adapt to a world of kamikaze drones and hypersonic gliders through simple software updates and tactical innovation. But the success of the Patriot comes with a massive logistical challenge: the cost and supply of missiles. Each PAC-3 interceptor costs nearly $4 million. In a war of attrition where the enemy uses cheap drones and massed rockets, the Patriot must be used with surgical precision. Ukrainian commanders have to make split-second decisions. Is this target worth a $4 million Patriot missile? This economic warfare is the newest challenge for the Sky Guardian. It has forced the world to realize that air defense is not just about technology, it's about the industrial capacity to keep the magazines full in the face of an endless storm of fire. As the war continues, the Patriot remains the most vital and iconic symbol of Western military support. Every time a Kinzhal is shot down, it is a victory for American engineering and Ukrainian courage. The Patriot has moved from being a Cold War sentinel to a digital legend, a machine that has saved thousands of lives and protected the very existence of a nation. It has outthought and outfought the best that the Kremlin could produce, proving that in the 21st century, the bullet that can hit a bullet is the ultimate decider of who owns the horizon. The Sky Guardian is on watch, and the world is finally seeing its true power. The final analysis of the MIM-104 Patriot is a story of ultimate technological vindication. It is a system that was born in the era of disco and floppy disks but has evolved to dominate the age of AI and hypersonics. It proved that a well-designed digital architecture can be upgraded forever. The Patriot established the blueprint for modern air defense, a decentralized, networked, and multi-mission platform that prioritizes information over brute force. It is the grandfather of the modern shield, a machine that redefined the very nature of what it means to be protected in a world of invisible threats. The influence of the Patriot can be seen in every modern SAM system designed today, from the European SAMP/T to the Israeli David Sling. They all follow the Patriot model: phased array radars, high-speed data links, and kinetic hit-to-kill interceptors. The Patriot taught the world that air defense must be proactive. It must be able to see the entire theater of war and share that data with every ship, plane, and soldier in the network. It was the pioneer of the sensor-fused defensive age, a machine that turned the sky into a transparent map where the enemy has nowhere to hide. Today, the U.S. Army is looking toward the Patriot 2.0 with the new LTAMDS radar. This next-generation sensor provides a 360-degree view, eliminating the old blind spots of the early Patriot radars. It is designed to track even faster and more maneuverable hypersonic gliders and thousands of swarming drones simultaneously. But even as this new technology arrives, the original Patriot airframe and launchers remain a masterpiece of rugged design. The system is being integrated into the IBCS network, a universal brain that allows any radar to guide any missile. The Patriot is not retiring, it is becoming part of an even larger, global machine of iron and light. The cultural legacy of the Patriot is also unique. It is perhaps the only air defense system to become a global celebrity, a name that people associate with high-tech safety. For the shield bearers, the soldiers who serve in the engagement control stations, the Patriot is more than just a job, it is a heavy responsibility. They are the silent guardians who sit in the dark, watching the digital blips that represent thousands of lives. The Patriot is their home, their shield, and their contribution to history. It is a machine that commands a unique kind of respect from the cities and armies it protects. Standing next to a Patriot battery today, you see a collection of vehicles that look like industrial monoliths, massive, blocky, and silent. It doesn't have the predatory look of a fighter jet or the brute mass of a tank, but it radiates a sense of quiet, absolute authority. It is a machine of pure calculation. It doesn't need to be beautiful, it just needs to be perfect for the 1 microsecond that matters. From the Star Wars of the 1990s to the hypersonic slayer of today, the Patriot has remained the ultimate tool of American strategic depth and global stability. It is the machine that turned the sky into a sanctuary. In the final analysis, the MIM-104 Patriot is a magnificent success of the digital age. It was the weapon that proved that you can hit a bullet with a bullet, and you can break the unstoppable through superior math and engineering. It has earned its place in the halls of military legends through 4 decades of fire, silicon, and silent watch. As the Patriot continues its guardian duty across the globe, its legend only grows. It remains the Sky Guardian, the Bullet Slayer, and the machine that redefined protection for the modern world. The Patriot is on the line, and the sky has never been safer.